to a lot of us in the community. So this is really kind of more so like a family get-together, which I'm very excited to see all of you. Hopefully you're excited to see me. We have an amazing program ahead of us, and we're gonna enjoy ourselves. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce somebody who came into my life at a really vulnerable time when I myself found out that I was diagnosed with HIV. I was 21 years old, just out here living life and, trying to figure out, what I want to do and where I want to go. This person is one of the most hard-working entertainers, performers. I remember one time she was booked at a club and the power was off. She went outside, turned her car on, turned the headlights on, and she started painting, honey, like with headlights. And she got that highlight all up and through that crease. So trust me, she was good. She was good. My sister was good. So it is, again, this is a friend of mine. This is someone who's entertained all over the country. This is someone who has over 20 titles throughout her 10-year female impersonation / drag queen career. And again, this is somebody who's very near and dear to my heart. And I wouldn't have it any other way for her to host this event. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce you all to your mistress of ceremonies, Ashley T. Banks. Woo! Girl, you painted? Girl, you painted? You did all that?
You helped me. Hey, hi, good morning. How's everybody doing? Oh, it's Friday. We can do a lot better than that. How's everybody doing today? All right, that's what I like to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ashley T. Banks, and this morning, I was about to say evening, this morning I will be your hostess for our World AIDS Day breakfast. I'm not sure if you guys know what World AIDS Day is, but World AIDS Day is held December 1st of every year, and it's an opportunity for people worldwide to unite in the fight against HIV, show their support for people living with HIV, and commemorate our brothers and sisters who we've lost in the fight. World AIDS Day is an opportunity for you to learn the facts about HIV and AIDS, put your knowledge into action. You also can show your support for people living with HIV and AIDS on World AIDS Day by wearing a red ribbon, red, or anything you got, little red lipstick here and there, that works too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're gonna keep this program moving right along, and we're gonna welcome to the stage our first speaker, Dr. Can't see my lashes are in the way. Hold on. All right. Dr. Edwin Hernandez. It's me. Yes, sir.
We can't do nothing without prayer.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Lord, y'all forgive me, please. Charge it to my head and not my heart. I am so sorry. Pastor, can you come lead us in a word of prayer? Pastor Robertson. Robertson.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all can do better than that. Good morning. All right. How many of you agree with me that we can't do nothing without prayer? Amen? Amen. So if you would be so kind to bow your heads. Eternal God, our Father, we humbly come before your presence this day. First of all, to acknowledge thee as God Almighty. We thank you for this fine group of people who have come. We thank you for the committee and the people that put on this program. We thank you, Lord, for everyone everywhere. And we ask your blessings upon this program and upon its efforts of what they're trying to achieve. We thank you, we give you all the praise and honor, and we just glorify your name. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ, and everyone said, amen.
Thank you. Now we can move on and enjoy eating and move on with the program. I'm so sorry about that, Pastor. Charge it to my head and not my heart. Lord, I'm going to hell with gasoline pumps on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to welcome to the stage from Area 6 update, Dr. Edwin Hernandez.
Good morning. One lesson I learned in life is never go before the Lord speaks, huh? So it's with great pleasure that I here this morning to give you an update on the HIV and AIDS in Florida. This is a topic that is very dear to me because I consider myself uh, part of the this epidemic that hit in 1981 when my baby brother got infected and died in 1994. So it's very dear to my heart, and my enthusiasm always been in my medical career attached to this. We cannot talk about HIV and AIDS without defining well exposure categories. And these categories in reality doesn't mean or define lifestyles or types of individuals, but means of exposure as such. The categories that where we study and cases and study transmission goes from MSM, which is male-to-male contact, IV drug users, combination of male-to-male contact and IV drug user, heterosexual, and other risk. HIV trends in Florida, we have seen quite an evolution through the years in terms of cases that from the past 2 years trend, we have noticed that we still have an increase, about 3% increase on cases here in Florida. When we look at patients that remain in care, we are doing a good job in trying to keep people in care. As we see through the years from like the 80s to 2016, 17, we have seen a decrease of HIV diagnosis through the state of Florida. Specifically, the diagnosis on cases, we are experiencing over the last year a slight increase on cases, which I think we need to put a lot of attention in terms of doing a better job trying to increase testing and reach the populations that are at risk. This is one of my favorite slides because it hits home here in Manatee County, where we were experiencing that decrease on the diagnosis of cases until 2014, when those lab requirements hit and created that peak on the cases, which in terms of value to the system, in reality, became a false increase. And then we started again picking on the actual trend over the past couple of years. When we look at the amount of cases versus the line on orange is the amount of tests that are conducted in Florida through certified Florida Department of Health site locations, we see that we have been doing a good job in being out there, and as we go, we see the amount of positive cases go down up to last year that we saw less than 1% of positive cases out there. AIDS diagnosis, of course, continue to go down as better options for care are out there, and early diagnosis and treatment is available to our clients in Florida. So the decrease, when we saw the first data back to 2008, we see that we experienced a decrease of almost half of the cases that we have in 2008. Perinatal transmission is almost as a 0% in Florida because of the great job and early interventions that we offer our clients in the medical facilities. So this is a really exciting time for those unfortunate cases, victims early in the epidemic. The HIV comorbidity, there are certain conditions that seems to be that go along with it. We have experiencing in Florida an increase of early syphilis, and I'm sure that a lot of medical providers in the room have seen that increase over the years. And we also have seen an increase on the comorbidity of syphilis and HIV. 95% of those cases have to be happens to be on the male-to-male contact here in Florida. In terms of chlamydia, gonorrhea, other infections that are really go hand by hand with some of these cases, we've seen also that they are increasing, especially gonorrhea have been increasing among HIV population as a comorbid condition. On the other end, we see that the comorbidity of tuberculosis HIV patients has been decreasing tremendously over the past years. So I can't wait for the 2018 data to be concluded so we can see this trend going down. Prevalence in Florida, as we see in the map, the darker colors shows the higher concentration of HIV, people living with HIV. And in our area, Manatee County, we have a heavy population as well. Here in Florida, one of every 151 adults in Florida are known to be HIV positive. One on 295 white men are living with HIV. 49, one of every 49 Afro-Americans are living with HIV, and one on 155 Hispanics are living with HIV. That's the race distribution. In terms of medical care, we have seen a great progress in terms of people that are ever in care, remain in care, or become undetectable. And almost 3/4 of our clients that are living with HIV are suppressed on the viral loads. So my congratulations for every provider, case manager that is doing a fantastic job to make sure that our clients get the best care and remain in care. There are different strategies out there to ensure that this continues to happen through the years. On the new cases diagnosed in Florida, we see now that 88% of these cases are linked to care in a very timely fashion, which lead to a very successful outcomes in terms of their immune response. In terms of HIV-related deaths in Florida, we've seen a continuous decrease, and of course, this is very related to the previous slide where we see that there's more interaction and availability of and access to care in Florida. So we continue to see a decline. It's very reassuring to see that HIV/AIDS is not the lead cause of death in Florida as it was previously in a few years, but is the fourth cause of death in Florida, so it continues to go down as we progress. In public health, there's a lot of exciting things happening. I think when I moved to Manatee County from another county, one of the things that I'm very proud of our interaction in Manatee County is our partnerships. And I'm here talking to you today because one of the greatest partnerships we have with C.A.N. Community Health, which I really deserve a crowd applause, please, to recognize their hard work. As an agency state, we have started to look at 4 main components to decrease and eliminate HIV transmission through the state. We implemented routine HIV and STD infection screening in healthcare settings, and of course, as more testing is there, early diagnosis, it becomes on the table for patients that with unknown status. We have provided treatment and ensured that we are through a strategy that is called Test and Treat, where we are able to treat patients right there on the open diagnosis. We improve our and promote access to antiretroviral therapies through what we call PrEP, and I'm sure a lot of us in the room knows. I will go a little bit on that later. And we continue to increase awareness of the HIV and the AIDS issues in the community, as this event is an example of that. Our HIV outreach team continues to be out there every day, going to different sites through the county, doing their STD, HIV testing on a routine basis, as well as in the Manatee County Jail. So we continue our efforts and diligently trying to put our efforts to address this public health threat. We also had increased within the agency the amount of full-time equivalency for our DIS workers that go out there to find and link individuals to care. And now we have 2 full-times and 1 data person that keeps track of all these cases and ensure that surveillance is appropriate through the county. We, through a great memorandum of agreement, one of the initiatives of the state is that the county health departments will offer and link patients into what we call PrEP. This will ensure prophylaxis to clients that are high risk, and will that be available? At Manatee County Health Department, PrEP will be offered through an initiative with C.A.N. Community Health, and we are very appreciative for the opportunity and the partnership to be able to provide our clients and our community of this much needed prophylaxis. The PrEP is basically is more than a pill. It's a whole case managed event where coaching to adherence is provided to clients that are HIV negative but have high risk for HIV. Besides the usual mobile medical unit, we have acquired at the county a new vehicle. It's a health coach that provides is providing health equity projects through the area where we have HIV counseling and testing being one of the priorities. Regardless of the faces of those people that we don't know that have HIV, and those that, you know, have made the headlines or are dear to our hearts, you know, could be the face of my brother, Sergeant Velasquez, Ryan White, Rock Hodgson, Magic Johnson, Charlie Sheen, that have come forward to make their status a part of the call and to make other people being able to get early diagnosis and treatment. I would like to close saying that if we can click on that link. This link is part of the link If you can click on the link. Below Ryan White is a link. Does it work? Not sure if any of you have seen a movie called Longtime Companion. It's a movie that came out in 1990 and shows the evolution of few friends through the AIDS epidemic. When I saw that movie first, it hits home with all the tribulation of going to an early epidemic where we were treating patients with not the finest drugs, high toxicity, and we saw the suffering of many individuals that got infected and we lost through the early of this epidemic. I think the link is not working, but I encourage you to see this movie. At the end of the movie, they just have the ones that survived, their friends, they talk to each other and they wondering if we ever going to see a cure, you know, if we ever going to keep ourselves unchecked to have better outcomes. HIV have come and touched our life in a way that we never anticipated. Regardless if we find a cure or we bring transmission to zero, you know, I definitely want to be there. And I'm sure that's the thought for you this morning. We all want to be there because we care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Edwin. How are you guys doing? Are you guys enjoying your breakfast? Oh my God, I'm so jealous. I had like 2 grapes and a cube of ice to hold me over this morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna bring up somebody you guys may know him as Miss Mikey, but we also know him as Michael Lamb. Welcome to the stage from C.A.N, Michael Lamb.
Y'all thought you were gonna get rid of me, but no, you didn't. So I'm back, and this is the part of the ceremony this morning that is all about community and why it is important that we're all here. It's important to ask people how they're doing. It's important to call people. It's important to send their flowers while they're still here. And it's really, really important just, you know, sharing a bond and share space and just really be vulnerable with one another. And don't be afraid and don't ever think you can say, I love you too many times. So I just want to give a huge, huge memorial and recognition to John Jake W. Gleason. He was very instrumental in the fight against HIV and ending it and truly getting to zero. He was a part of the AIDS Action Initiative of Manatee Sharing and Caring Community Dinner, Michael Bach Advisory Committee, Unitarian Universalist Church, and Boy Scouts of America, Eagle Scout. John, he really loved what he did. He loved people. He was truly, truly, truly a beacon of light in such dark times. Even though HIV isn't the disease it once was, we do have to acknowledge we have come so far, but we still got to keep trucking because it's still around, it's still claiming lives, and it's still happening, especially here in the state of Florida, with our youth. The youth are our future. Pretty soon I'm gonna be taking care of y'all, and then the people up under me are gonna be taking care of me. So that's why we gotta really keep this thing going. We gotta keep this thing going. And this actually is Jake's quilt for him. And then this is actually the quilt that Jake and Wendell Martin, who is actually here, who is amazing, who I love, who is just, he'll rub you the wrong way, but it's all in love. I love you, Wendell. I've shared the stage with you plenty times, and I wouldn't want to share it with anybody else. And this is the quilt they got made together in their union. And so I would just like to take a moment of silence to remember Jake Gleason, please. We'll do that now. Bow your heads. I don't know what you just For Jake? Okay. And now, if you please look towards the screen, we have a PowerPoint presentation.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I would fly high.
That was beautiful. And that's why this ceremony this morning is dedicated to Jake, because of the work he put in, because of his community advocacy, because of his love and partnership with Wendell Martin. So again, ask people how they doing, give him a hug, say hey to Wendell. He's very known, he's very popular. Yes. Oh, well, come on, Wendell. We can do better than that. Come on, Wendell.
First of all, I say good morning. And then second of all, I say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't expect this. You know, when you're prepared for one thing and then you get something totally off, it takes you off your norm. And this took me off my norm. But I say the feeling is good. The feeling is good. I truly appreciate what you've done. I truly appreciate what he did and what he stood for. I truly appreciate what he did and what he still stood for. It's still ongoing. This disease does not stand still. It does not take a vacation. No time of year. It's still going forth, people. And what we are doing, we need to continue to do. Education is power. Power is knowledge. And we all have a responsibility to teach someone, to empower someone. Because this disease is preventable. When I was diagnosed in '83, it was a death sentence. It was a death sentence. Now it's a manageable disease. And if we learn to empower other people, young people, that their lives matter, that they matter. Why? Because they are our future. Us baby boomers, we're moving down the road, and they're moving up the road. We need them. We got to educate them. We got to empower them so we can live. Our lives depends on us empowering them. So the battle is not over. The war continues. Thank you for being a part of the battle, and we shall win the war. Thank you.
Wendell Martin. Come here. You're awesome. And thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you've done. And thank you for showing people where we started and where we are at now and letting them know we got a little bit more to do. So thank you for all you've done. And I mean that in the most genuine and humblest way. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing Wendell to be Wendell. I know sometimes I will upset a lot of your nerves. I know that. I know Wendell when I know my mouth. But if that's what it took to get things done,
All right.
it worked.
All right.
So pat yourself on the back. It worked.
Yes, it did. It worked. You know, Eazy-E said sometimes to get your point across, you got to cuss. So, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Now, since we are talking about the youth, it brings me great honor to introduce one of our community partners that we do partner with a lot in Manatee County to just, you know, discuss what we got going on with the future of tomorrow. We've done a lot of work with them, workshops, interventions, and to talk about that, we're going to bring forth one of my good girls, Miss Angela Sims from the Boys and Girls Club. Give her a round of applause. Woo!
Well, good morning. What a great segue. Well said. My name is Angie. Oh, hello. All right. My name is Angie Sims, and I am the club director at the Palmetto Boys and Girls Club. And our mission is to enable all young people that need us the most to reach their full potential as productive citizens and responsible teenagers. So we have partnership with C.A.N for about a long time. I've been at this club for about a year, and the partnership has been going for a very, very long time. And Mikey, I have to say, you are the kids' favorite. They love Mikey and the Poetry Slam. That's me, y'all. Yeah. Boys and Girls Club, we service up to 300 youth a day. We service kids from 5 to 18 years old. And one of our main focus is to educate our youth about HIV and AIDS awareness. So C.A.N Network has came to us, has answered our humble prayer and call to educate our youth about the epidemic that is taking place not only in the world, but in Manatee County and in Palmetto, Florida. So the social and the educational stance that C.A.N does with the kids are very engaging and interactive. The kids absolutely love it. I had an opportunity this summer to sit in one of the class, and actually I learned something as well. So the partnership has really took precedence over a lot of our programs because the kids ask a lot of questions, and their questions are answered. There's no silly questions. There's no stupid questions. So I love the opportunity that C.A.N provides for us. With HIV, STDs, drugs, the disease spectrum that they have brought to our club has really opened up the floodgates for the kids to ask questions and not be judged. So I would like to say thank you so much, C.A.N, for allowing us the opportunity and to educate our kids to benefit from what you're doing here. Education is the key, and we're going to keep pushing the gas on this to educate our youth today so they can be aware and we can prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm getting good at that. All right, thank you, Angela. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to welcome to the stage our keynote speaker. But before we welcome him to the stage, I'm going to read a little bit about him, all right? All right. Oh, turn this down some. All right. Born September 3rd, 1983 in Daytona Beach, Florida, to Miriam Turner and Clarence Williams, Mr. Williams is the second oldest of 3 children. Currently, Mr. Williams is a student of Valencia Community College, where he is pursuing his undergraduate studies. While completing his education, Mr. Williams is also working at Miracle of Love Incorporated. From the start of his tenure with Miracle of Love, Mr. Williams has drawn on his past experience and his ability to easily relate to others to engage his peers and clients. In 2010, Mr. Williams accepted the position at Miracle of Love that would take his life down an alternate path than initially planned. Miracle of Love is a federally funded 501c3 aid service organization that has been serving the Central Florida community since 1991. Miracle of Love's mission is to provide comprehensive, multicultural HIV and AIDS care, education, and prevention services that are effective and responsive to the Central Florida communities. Miracle of Love specializes in HIV testing, counseling, and case management. Upon hire, Mr. Williams expressed he had no idea what he could offer the organization, but he knew he wanted a job that meant something to him. Initially, he started as a facilitator in HIV prevention. He facilitated a popular program that taught young gay men of color the importance of protecting themselves and others. It didn't just address HIV prevention amongst gay men of color. It also addressed the social cultural issues that put them at risk for HIV. Factors such as poverty, survival, and religion play a major part in gay men's lives. Most recently, Mr. Williams facilitated a healthy relationships group that teaches other young adults how to accept and communicate their status with family and friends. The community has embraced Mr. Williams with open arms as he has shared their status with him. He has become a resource for individuals to receive HIV-related services while ensuring their confidential status is retained. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage, Mr. Prashad Williams.
Good morning, everyone. It's still morning. All right. I apologize for my tardiness. I-75 was not on my side this morning. Thank you for that warm welcome as well. I'm going to be talking with you all a little bit. I was going to tell you a little bit about me, but I think they kind of covered all of that. What is the update though? I am currently now working with Metro Wellness over in St. Pete. I just recently started working with them as an engagement and outreach specialist for Zero Pinellas. So I'm a little closer in the area, so I hope to see some of your faces a little bit more. I'll be speaking to you this morning, about HIV and Hep C co-infections, basically. So just doing a little bit of education about Hep C, preventative measures, how managing Hep C also while living with HIV, or ways, again, to just stay healthy. I think, do we have the presentation up? Is it not coming up there? Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. And just in case, can everybody hear me just in case I get off of the mic? Because I like to kind of move around and interact a little bit. I know this is very formal up here. So again, when I started out doing community work, I started out doing prevention work. But then I got to a point where I felt comfortable with sharing my status, and I felt that it was important to be able to use my story to not only inspire but educate other individuals, and especially my peers. Because I started out pretty young, but now I'm a little older. So, like I said, we're going to have a conversation, and it's going to be unbranded. We're not going to talk specifically about medications, but more so just talking about preventative measures and ways of staying healthy. And this is funded, I was brought here by Merck, so my boss, Allison, she's somewhere in here as well. So some things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be learning more about Hep C and how it can affect you. We're going to be understanding the impact of having both HIV and Hep C infections. And then we're also going to know who should be tested for Hep C. So just some content really quick. Let me get it all up here. So we're going to go through a group exercise. We're going to find out why it's important to know about Hep C. We're going to talk about what is Hep C and HIV co-infections, and the liver disease. How do you get Hep C symptoms, who should be tested, and living with Hep C and HIV. So by a show of hands, how many people know that people living with HIV are at a higher risk for Hep C? Okay. And how many people in the room know that HIV and Hep C are both caused by viruses? All right. Okay. So, did we know that in the United States, 1 out of 4 people infected with HIV are also co-infected with Hep C? That's so important to know when it comes down to those of us living with HIV and understanding the risk of infection. So this is just a depiction here of how the number of people living with HIV here in the U.S., also with the number of people living with Hep C, and then it shows there in the middle people who are co-infected with both Hep C and HIV. So Hep C is an infection of the liver. It's caused by the hepatitis C virus, of course. And where it starts is an acute infection, basically. And the acute infection is short-term, doesn't really have any symptoms. And most people progress to the chronic infection. In the chronic infection, it is long-lasting, of course, and it also leads to serious liver problems. Some of us may have heard of cirrhosis of the liver, jaundice, and some of those symptoms are associated with that chronic disease. So people living with chronic Hep C might not even have symptoms for years, much like HIV, and which is why it's so important to always be tested. Women infected with HIV are almost twice as much likely to be infected with Hep C. And for men living with HIV who have sex with men, they are at a much higher rate of infection for Hep C than those just living with HIV who are heterosexual. So both HIV and Hep C may get worse more quickly in people who have both infections. Understanding with HIV, and I'm sure we know that HIV it attacks the immune system, attacks the CD4 cells, so it's already breaking down our ability or the body's ability to defend itself. So with Hep C being there, it has a better opportunity to be able to take its toll on the liver and other organs. So both Hep C and HIV viruses can make millions of copies. So we know with HIV continues to replicate until those antiretroviral medications are introduced to that virus. Or if they're not taken correctly and taken properly, then that virus will continue to replicate. So at infection, you may have symptoms, or if you do, they may feel like the flu. Sounds familiar, right? When it comes down to HIV, flu-like symptoms, you don't really know that it's there. If you don't get tested, you'll never know it's there. Most people do not know it when they do become infected because you don't feel anything. You don't know anything, you don't see it. And it may take years before the symptoms appear, again, much like HIV. So, the reason why our liver is important. I remember when I was young, my mom used to cook liver all the time, and I used to be like, ugh, why does this even exist? And now, you know, being able to be informed about the importance of having a liver and the functions of it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. So it's roughly the size of a football, and it's up in like the upper right, is this my right? Yeah, the upper right part under your ribs. So a healthy liver is there to process nutrients and fibers and blood. It filters our blood and it fights infections. And it helps with digesting our food. So it's supposed to also store vitamins and sugars and fats, the good fats, and the proteins that our body's going to need, but it stores it for later. So just some pictures of what a healthy liver looks like all the way down to the cirrhosis stage. So, oh, I do have a little pointer. Can I reach over there? No, I can't reach it. Okay, so Hep C, the Hep C virus infects a healthy liver. So you see the healthy liver there at the top. Then the body starts to react to the Hep C virus because it's a natural reaction, so the inflammation starts swelling. And then the chronic inflammation of the liver will then start causing scarring. And as you can see where it's starting to look a little more rigid, if you may. And then where the cirrhosis sets in, you start to see the severe scarring. And that's associated with the loss of the liver function. So Hep C is the leading cause of liver-related disease in people living with HIV. So we want to keep that in mind. Again, the importance of being tested. I know sometimes I've met people before where they're like, I already got HIV. You know, it can't get too much worse than this. But trust me, it really can. It really can. So co-infection more than triples the risk of serious liver problems. And The only way to get Hep C is to come in contact with blood from an infected person with the Hep C virus. So some ways that this can happen is normally people who may have received blood like way back in the day, back before 92. It's because the virus can be spread through blood and blood transfusions, and we know that was the way that some individuals were infected with HIV back in the day because those serious tests weren't being ran. Nowadays, you know, we've made progress. We've learned from some of the things that we probably weren't doing properly. So same thing here with Hep C. For those individuals who probably were receiving those blood transfusions, that blood may not have been tested. So those are just ways that some people might have gotten it through blood. Sharing needles and syringes. Using injection drugs. So I'm a really big fan of harm reduction. I'm the type of person that, and harm reduction meaning that, let's say I smoke cigarettes, chain smoke cigarettes for 3 years straight, and then I say, okay, I want to quit. I may not be able to just quit cold turkey, so I may need to gradually get off of that. So as it relates to using needles and syringes, when we're talking about ID users, talking about drug users who are using needles and syringes, encouraging them to at least make sure they're using clean equipment. If we can't get them to stop or to cut back, at least getting them the type of equipment or helping them get to the type of equipment that can help them with being safer with whatever it is that they're doing. And that is what harm reduction is. I mean, everybody can't just do it like that and just stop, but at least helping them reduce the level of risk. So other ways that Hep C can be infected through the blood: needle stick injuries in a healthcare setting. Some of us work in healthcare settings, and some of us feel so comfortable with our clients after a while, or we've been working in the field so long, we just run over here and grab this, and before you know it, we got stuck with a needle. So keeping that in mind, being born from a mother who was infected with Hep C, having unprotected sex with someone who's infected with Hep C, sharing personal care items, razors, nail clippers, things that could have blood on them, and understanding too that Hep C can, because most people know HIV can't last outside the body for more than a few seconds, but Hep C can last 3 weeks. So it's important to know. Just because it's there, it's dried up, doesn't mean, oh, I can't get anything from it, I can't be harmed from it. With Hep C, it can last up to 3 weeks. So that's a pretty long time. So tattoos and body piercings. Anybody like tattoos? Right. I like mine too. Keeping in mind that is a way that infection can happen. So always checking and making sure they're using clean, sterile items. A new needle, opening up a new needle every time. Also, manicures and pedicures. I know everybody like to get their mani and their pedi done, right? So eye-opening, right? So, thinking about that, keeping that in mind, checking out the place, scoping the place out when you come in there. Is it clean? Are they dropping their utensils into something that's sanitizing it? Those are the things we want to make sure we're looking for when we're going and getting pampered. So 70–80% of people with acute Hep C do not have symptoms. Again, going back to the fact that there may not be any symptoms associated with Hep C. So that's why it's so important for us to be tested for Hep C. Most providers are providing Hep C testing in conjunction with HIV testing. So normally wherever HIV testing is provided, you can also inquire about the Hep C testing. So symptoms of chronic Hep C, it can take many years again to develop, just like HIV. First symptoms of chronic Hep C, they're going to appear often as signs of advanced liver disease. So again, affecting that liver. And the symptoms may include a fever, feeling tired, lack of appetite, upset stomach, jaundice. Does everybody know what jaundice is? Jaundice is with like the yellowing of the eyes. When the infection in the liver has gotten so bad, you start to see like a yellow tint in the eyes. So jaundice is one of the symptoms as well, and also joint pain. So all people living with HIV should be tested for Hep C. So now we're talking about who should be tested for HIV. Baby boomers, people born between 1945 and 1965, people who were treated for blood clotting before 1987, people who received blood transfusions or organ transplants before July of 1992, people who whoever used injection drugs and shared drug equipment, people with abnormal liver tests and liver diseases, and also people who are exposed to the blood from persons with Hep C. When it comes to people exposed, so when we're talking about sex, especially men having sex with men, we're talking about anal sex. Anal sex involves tearing in the anus. and that is how blood can be present. So I just want to point that out, not to make a depiction, but pointing out how that rate of infection can get a lot higher. Not just saying that that is happening within men who have sex with men, because everybody has different sexual practices, but understanding the level of risk. So this is why condoms should be used when those type of behaviors are happening. People who have had or are receiving hemodialysis, thinking about that as well. People who receive tattoos, body piercings, you know, all our fun stuff that we really love to add. And people born from a mother with Hep C. So Hep C testing, the healthcare provider is going to, if your healthcare provider is providing a test, then they're going to do an order for your blood. They're going to want to see what type of Hep C is there. So there's one type of blood test that can identify if you were ever exposed at any point in your life, and then there's another that can identify if you're actually living with Hep C at the time. So you want to ask your healthcare provider to explain your test results. I am a big stickler about saying take your time seriously when you're with your healthcare providers. A lot of times we go in there and we're talking to our doctors and we know that they got to move real quickly, and we get used to it. We come in there, we know we have about 5 minutes, and we may have a lot of things on our brain that we want to talk to them about, and then they start running these tests, and they come out with the results, and they tell you this, and this, and we're like, okay. And then we leave, and then we're going home, or we're probably at the red light, and we're looking like, I don't know what he said. You know, so make sure and be very intentional about taking your time when you're there with your healthcare providers, asking those pertinent questions, asking them to spell out their medication, because it looks like you can say it, but you really can't say it. Those type of things that we may feel a little embarrassed about, it doesn't matter. They work for us. So let's make sure that we are actually getting what we are supposed to get out of those settings. So your healthcare provider may also request additional testing to better understand Hep C. And again, when they're requesting that testing, you want to better understand it too. You want to know what's going on in your body. You want to know what benefits are there. You want to know what options you have. Considering bringing a friend or a family member to your appointments to help you remember details of your care. I always tell people that support system that you have, that person that's driving you to your appointment, you know, that person who you're calling and you're talking to them about how annoyed you are with all the medications you have to take and how your pharmacist gets on your nerves and those types of things. Also bring them in there so they can get some of that information and also support you, because that's why they're your support system. So, living with Hep C, a healthy diet may improve your liver, improve your liver health. So, I hate talking about diets. No, but eating a balanced diet, fiber, and drinking lots of water, really important, helps out a lot. Exercising can boost your immune system. How many of us exercise? Kudos to y'all, yes. Working closely with your healthcare team, again, going back to the importance of talking to your doctor, talking to everybody on your healthcare team, all the way down to the person at the reception desk. You know, getting as much information as you can. The ARNP, the nurse that walks you back to the room, the nurse that asks you how you doing, has anything changed? Getting as much information as you can. So doctors who specialize in liver diseases, doctors who specialize in stomach and intestinal diseases, doctors who specialize in infectious diseases, and also nurse practitioners. So, avoiding alcohol, for those of us who are that strong-willed. Drinking alcoholic beverages, even beer and wine, can be very harmful to someone who has Hep C. That's very, very important. If a person is living with Hep C, alcohol could really do a lot of damage, the smallest amount of alcohol, especially depending on how far the infection has advanced. So talking to your healthcare provider if you have any substance use problems. Again, sometimes we have things going on in our life and we just are where we are, and we have to be real with ourselves. And whatever things that we have going on that may affect our treatment or may affect our progress managing whatever it is we're living with, we need to discuss that with our healthcare provider. That is vital. Talking to your healthcare provider before taking vitamins and supplements that can harm your liver. So I'm not living with Hep C, but I have a little story about me taking vitamins and supplements at the time when I was taking my antiretroviral medications. When I first started, my doctor was telling me, you want to make sure before you take anything, you come and talk to me and let me know what's going on. So I'm thinking that just means like if I go to the dentist and they prescribe anything to me, I need to come and talk to them about a prescribed medication. But that really does go for anything over the counter. You would be amazed at how some of the things over the counter can affect our daily regimens or or our medications that we're on a constant basis. So I was going to the gym, and I said, well, I want to be healthier, and I want to be fit because I just found out I'm living with HIV, so it's really, really important for me to be healthy. So I wanted to get me like some supplements. So I'll get this milk that's like really just supposed to be something that just boosts your energy and boosts your immune system and stuff like that. So I started drinking it, and I started to realize that there were changes happening with my body. I was getting boils all over my body, but I never associated it with this over-the-counter supplement. That was just something that just helped me when I'm working out. But it had gotten so bad that I was really getting them everywhere in all type of places, and they had really left a lot of scarring. And when I went to my doctor, I'm telling my doctor, I'm having this problem. I'm not sure whether it's my medication. And he's like, well, is anything else happening? I wasn't sick. I wasn't throwing up. I couldn't figure out for the life of me what was going on. And then one day he just asked, like, is there anything new that you're doing? And I told him what I'm taking. I brought it in, and he's like, this is exactly what it is. This is the problem right here. And that just always stuck out to me. So now I don't even take a Tylenol when I'm talking to my doctor, because when you think about how much we don't know in relation to taking medications and drug-drug interactions, it can be kind of scary. So always, again, follow up with your healthcare provider, even if it's just a phone call, to leave a message and let the nurse call you back and let them tell you what may be the best way to move forward. Is really, really important to do that. So talking to your healthcare team, I love this shot here because it gives us a real picture of what our healthcare team may look like. So here, for a person living with Hep C, it may be the liver doctor. It may be the nurse practitioner. It may be the family doctor. Some of us have family physicians that's been in our lives for years, so we feel comfortable with them. The nurse, the pharmacist, the physician assistant. Pharmacist is important too. You'll be surprised how sometimes our doctors and our pharmacists never talk. It's just fax communication. They may just fax over a prescription. So that means that the pharmacist may never really know any new things that may be going on with you. The doctor just may send your prescription over, and the pharmacist never knows that you may now have another infection or something like that. So this is why it's important to make sure that all of the people on our healthcare team are connected and that they're communicating with one another. And we know that it's going to happen because we're in the middle of all of that. It's all centered around us. So key learnings. Understand what Hep C is and whether you may be at risk. If you think you may be at risk for Hep C, get tested, please. If you are living with HIV, it is important to get tested at least once. I say do it annually, depending on how active you are and depending on risk factors. We talked a little bit about risk factors. We talked about the tattoos, the piercings, using needles, anybody using injection drugs, or even just diabetics, people who may be sharing needles. And you want to also go to your healthcare team for appointments. Please work with your healthcare team. I know sometimes it can be difficult, but working with our healthcare team, finding ways to work around things really does benefit us. Okay, and that's it. Thank you all so much.
Jumping hurdles. Thank you, Rashad. Ooh, shade. It was a crack right there. How are you guys doing? Are you guys enjoying everything so far? Yes. So how do I look? Do I look all right? I try to give y'all a little costume change. Oh, stop it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have our next speaker come to the stage. We're going to welcome her. Her name is Lori Russett.
For those of you that know me, know that I'm not Lori Russett. Lori Russett is here. My name's Debbie Sergi Laws, and I'd just like to say a few words about Lori because she is a wonderful friend, but most recently has become very involved with the community and HIV in the aspect of educating our youth and support to others living with HIV. Like I said, Lori's a friend of mine for over 20 years, and to get her up here in public on the stage, we still haven't gotten her here, but she's close, she's getting closer, is a big thing. And she's doing it for all the right reasons, and you'll hear what those are. So my introduction to Lori Russett.
So yeah, this is not my thing. So I have notes. Bear with me. So today, as we all know, we are celebrating World AIDS Day. It is a day, whether diagnosed or not, to support people living with HIV/AIDS, or perhaps remembering those who have died from an AIDS-related illness. I am speaking to you here today as a person who has been living with HIV for over 25 years. I am speaking to you here today as a person who has certainly had difficulty embracing this day. It has been a struggle. Many months ago, I was encouraged, or let's say maybe even pushed a lot, to go through the Speakers Training Bureau. Not for the first time, but for the second time. So mind you, I had done this now twice in the course of 25 years. When I went to the Speakers Bureau training program, what I remember is walking into a room full of people and feeling, wow, what a diverse group of people there are here. My mind wandered a little bit, and I thought, what are the chances under any other circumstances that all of us would be in the same room together? Other than everyone there being people living with HIV or AIDS, what could we possibly have in common? As the day went on, I remember feeling the intensity of the emotions in the room. This was a group of people whose lives were so different than mine, still sharing their stories, still allowing me into their lives, into their worlds that I knew nothing about. This was way out of my comfort zone. There were stories of drugs, abuse, homosexuality. There were stories of love, of loss, of fear, secrecy, and of pain. There were stories of death. There were people with cultures and backgrounds that I knew nothing about. I wondered how I was possibly going to be able to relate. I remember when it came time for us to tell our stories, which was part of the training where we all stood up in front of everybody to let everybody know what our story was. They were asking for volunteers. I raised my hand. Brave, right? I'm going to be the first one to come up here and talk. I'm going to be the first one to tell my individual story. It wasn't brave. It wasn't brave at all. I wanted to be the first one to tell my story because I didn't think my story would stand up to the rest. I wanted to be the first so that I couldn't possibly be compared to the others. But when I did tell it, when I shared it, it was my truth. It was my life. It was from my heart. It was exhausting. It was liberating. It was energizing. And all I felt in that room was love and support. I sat transfixed for the rest of that day, listening to everyone else's stories. And suddenly I didn't feel so different. It didn't matter where we came from. Didn't matter what we did. Didn't matter where we lived or who we were or who we knew. HIV certainly did not care. It crept into all of our lives, all of our stories. It affected all of us. It did not discriminate. We were much more the same than we ever were different. I listened to how it tore us apart, how it destroyed relationships, how it desecrated our bodies, how it affected our families, our jobs, how it tested our friendships. All of us, no matter our story. And standing in that room, most importantly, I realized that we were all survivors, and we took strength and comfort from each other, from our sharing. And so today, for me, I think today is about recognizing that this is how we continue to survive, by sharing our stories and letting other people into our lives. We can stay isolated, or we can take strength from each other. We will do it all in our own way, all in our own time, some of us taking longer than others. But we do need to do it. We need to continue to do it. Because in fact, as I said, we are survivors. And so to end, I would like to take a moment to talk or to tell a saying from a woman by the name of L. Arnault. And what she said was, tell your story, shout it, write it, whisper it if you have to, but tell it. Some won't understand, some will outright reject it, but many will thank you for it. And then the most amazing and magical thing will happen. One by one, your tribe will gather, and you will never feel alone again. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to welcome to the stage our next speaker, Miss Vicki Bartz.
Hopefully climbing those stairs is going to be my biggest challenge today. So my name is Vicki Bartz. I do community relations with Tidewell Hospice, and I was absolutely thrilled when Jessley asked me to speak. This is not exactly a topic most people want to hear about, so I appreciate this opportunity. Great strides have been made in the detection and treatment of people infected with HIV virus. According to the November 10th, 2009 NPR report, before 1996, life expectancy of an AIDS patient was 18 months post-diagnosis. After 1996, when new medications were rolled out, patients regularly lived decades longer. That's the great news. Unfortunately, as these patients live longer, unanticipated side effects may appear. Osteoporosis, various forms of cancer, kidney disease, cardiovascular disease. These can be side effects of treatments or be caused by the disease itself or both. The fact of the matter is that generally speaking, at some point, medications often lose their effectiveness. When alternative options are exhausted, diseases progress. It's human nature to want to survive. However, every living thing on our planet is destined to die. We humans can benefit from hospice care at the end of our lives. Consider this, as soon as I get to the right place. Beginning with the year 2000, in the 4 counties that we serve, Tidewell Hospice has cared for 309 patients whose primary or secondary diagnosis was AIDS, or an average of 17 people per year. In Manatee County, there were 229 AIDS-related deaths, and 126 of those people sought hospice care, or 55%. In Sarasota County, there were 175 AIDS-related deaths, and 132 of them sought hospice care, or 75%. I personally would like to see everyone living with AIDS cured. But knowing that today this is not possible, I would like to see these percentages of AIDS patients who use hospice care much closer to 100%. That would tell me that we have communities that are enlightened about hospice care. It would tell me that patients, their partners, and families want compassionate care at the end of their loved one's death or lives. It would tell me that patients want to live life to the fullest for as long as possible, and that they want to be comfortable as they approach a dignified death. And really, that's no different than any other human being. My point is this: no matter what the end-of-life diagnosis is, and no matter what the age of the patient, hospice care is available to provide care, comfort, and compassion to the patient and to the patient's loved ones. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vicki. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep this moving along. We're going to start our award ceremony. We're going to bring to the stage John Perez and Jesly Santiago.
Morning. Good morning. Everybody wide awake? How many want to go back to work? Wow.
Can I have Debbie please come up to present this first award?
All right, now that you know I'm not Lori Russett, I'm Debbie again. And this award is the award for the I always mess this up, PLWHA, sorry. I'm so used to PWA from the old days. This award is for a person living with HIV and who provides to our community something that is many of you are capable of doing and do very, very well. But unless you are living with HIV, I don't think you really, really know what it's like to have and to educate about HIV. So going out there, being vulnerable, opening up. We have a wonderful Persons Living with HIV Speakers Bureau that is through C.A.N Community Health. We also work with Healthy Teens Coalition in Manatee County and Manatee Schools. And we go out and we tell our stories. And in that manner, we are able to educate our youth. And like was said about the Boys and Girls Club, these kids have questions. These kids want to know. And they feel very comfortable in asking us when we go out to speak. In fact, I have a couple of my speakers that are here. Mikey being one, which he is very popular. You know, I can't rap, and if I did, it wouldn't be a good thing, but Mikey gets these kids motivated. Then we also have Clayton, who's sitting over there now, just taking a drink of coffee. Sorry. Clayton is one of our speakers. And then Lori is also one of our speakers. I have other speakers that aren't here today, but this award is actually going to Lori. And I'm not sure I have to say much more than that. You already heard what she had to share. And she is on a journey. And her journey is long and hard and loving and just what we need in our community. Thank you. We may not be friends after this.
I'm going to take 2 seconds because this is totally unexpected. I got a call to ask to speak at this breakfast, and my friend Deb just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. And I said yes, and for some reason I thought I was going to be sitting at the office having breakfast with the coworkers and telling them a little bit about all of this. So again, thank you. I really appreciate it. Totally unexpected. Thank you.
This next person, who I work, at the health department, at the HIV division, we work hands-on pretty much at the Michael, but this person works for Rural Health. And I think I speak for everybody that works for Rural Health and the health department. They're tired of hearing my voice. I have them on speed dial. I call it the bat phone. Michael Nugent, Kenny Williams, they're in constant contact with me. On Sarasota side, Olga Bennett, I speak to her constantly about linkage to care and linking individuals up to care in Sarasota. But this individual I speak to often as well. And it's very seldom that I get a no or a call back. And she usually responds right away. I already said she, so everybody knows a female. So, Dwayna Staples, who we know as Marie. Marie Staples, what can I say about Marie? She's always she's a go-getter. She's always about the client. She's always about, John, what can we do next? John, what's next on the agenda? Is this person calling you? I haven't heard from this person. Can you contact this person? So I'm always constantly on the phone with not only Dwayna, but Rural Health in general. And I feel she's a big asset to that organization. So I thank you. And it's for your dedication, commitment, and compassion, and your continued effort for enlightening education and empowering the community. I thank you, and I think your organization does as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is totally unexpected because what I do is from the heart. I'm not expecting anything in return. The return is my clients and them being compliant and, seeing that they can live with this disease. It is truly a blessing to be able to work with individuals who suffer from HIV and AIDS, because that's what they do. They just suffer from it. They don't have it, and that's my attitude. So my goal and my role is to empower, to encourage, and to let them know that you can live and live your dreams. So thank you so much, John. I was not expecting this. Thank you.
This next person, or individual, I really don't know much about. I've just been schooled on her. So,
actually, there's a perfect person that could speak about her. And I am looking for him.
Okay.
Where is Jose? There he goes.
Okay.
He didn't know he was doing this.
No idea.
I just threw him in the
Not my thing. Okay, so I am so honored to present this to this person. As unexpected as it is, her dedication and commitment, her passion, her devotion, the love that she expresses every day, helping so many people and leading our team as well. So this award goes to Alina Orozco, the Red Ribbon Award. So,
no wonder he said I had to come.
Surprise.
Thank you. You very much. I don't know about you. Thank you. No, I don't know what to say. It's a surprise. I was telling Jose, there's so much to do. We came up from Miami yesterday, and I was thinking, I'm so glad that we came up because I couldn't think of a better place to be today, especially around World AIDS Day, with a group of people who are so inspiring every day. I just say thank you very much, and thank you to everyone. I think I reiterate what everyone has said. I know we're preaching to the choir here. We're all in it for the right reasons, really, to help people that are living with HIV, and thank you very much. Thanks.
So Jose didn't say too much about his agency, but he sponsors, they're a pharmacy rep, and they sponsor a lot of our events.
I'm always calling him because something didn't fall through or something happened. So he's like, okay, just give me a call and I'll see what I could do. So he did not represent his company well, but I will do it for you. And they're amazing. I will tell you, I met him about 2 years ago, and he is very pleasant. And when I got the award that was submitted for you, talked very highly. I wish I had it. I don't have it here, but talked very highly about you and your hard work and dedication to the fight against HIV.
Let me just say, it's Clear Health Alliance. We're an HIV specialty plan. We're really here to help everyone who's in this room working with individuals with HIV. Thank you.
So the next person, oh yeah, clapping for me, thank you. The next person I met about 3 years ago, and I've been with C.A.N for 5 years, and he reached out to me and said, hey, can I volunteer and bring 10 other people with me? And I was like, sure, come on. So then he says, can I do some kind of classes to educate people about makeup and so on? And I was like, sure, why not? So in the last year, we've been working here in Palmetto, well, not here in Bradenton, but in Palmetto. And we've been working with the FACE program, which Marcus is the lead on that program. So we are now trying to put in that, what is FACE? Marcus, will you come up and talk about FACE?
Morning. My name's Marcus, and I'm one of the prevention specialists, and I implemented PHASE, which stands for Preventing HIV and Substance Abuse Education. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so basically it's just a group-level intervention program where it's just a support group for anyone that's like suffering from substance abuse, from just about anything, pretty much. It's a great group. This is the second cycle already. It's been started. Graduation is coming up December 11th, and we have very good feedback. It's actually, data analysts are actually involved right now, and we're hoping to take this group to the next level.
Thank you. So this award, Red Ribbon Award, is presented to Mr. Joe from the MAC. So let me talk, while he's here, let me talk about World AIDS Day Walk, which is AIDS Walk, which is tomorrow. We're still allowing people to sign in. So go into the run-up, and it's on our website. I have flyers all over the table, as you can see. We need walkers. We need people to come out and support. It starts at 9 in the morning. Registration starts at 7:30. It's at Hammond Park. Thank you. Hammond Park in Sarasota, where the huge statue is at with the lady and the young man and whatever, that's where it's at. Across the street from, where's across the street? Madam Jacks, you guys are helping me. Thank you. I've been up since 3 in the morning, just saying. So we're still accepting walkers, and we will accept registration at the actual event. It's $25 at the event and $12 through the website.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank C.A.N and Jessley, but I don't know if a lot of you know about, I work for MAC Cosmetics, and we're very passionate about helping the community, especially those affected with HIV and AIDS. So we do have a great program called the MAC AIDS Fund, and we're really trying to get more involved with volunteering and helping out locally and across the world, basically. But so far, we've raised, by selling our Viva Glam lipsticks, $400 million. So every time you buy a MAC Viva Glam lipstick, 100% of the selling price goes to the MAC AIDS Fund, which gets distributed out by people that work for MAC volunteering. So all the money that you want to donate to me tomorrow will be matched dollar for the AIDS Walk. So thank you very much.
the next one, it's the Keeper of the Frame Award, which is one of our biggest awards. It's one of our top ones that have supported us throughout the whole year. We call them last minute. When I say last minute, I'm telling you at 4:50 and we have an event coming up the next day at 1 o'clock and we need funds because something happened. This specific person have went above and beyond the job. She doesn't even work in the HIV field, but to know that she's willing to step up and assist when needed and be able to come out if she needs to come out. And she actually referred a great person to this company, which is C.A.N, that is now working with us for the last 8 months. So I'm gonna allow John to go ahead and present the award and we go from there.
This individual works for Carl Reynolds Law, in honor of your dedication, compassion, and commitment to improve the lives of those living with HIV and AIDS. We give our thanks to Ms. Julie Ortiz.
Wow, thank you so much. I know Jess Lee. She's a dear friend to my family, and I feel very honored to have this award today. I work for a local law firm. We do personal injury, and we are very involved in our community. Our attorneys live in this community. And every opportunity that we get to help, we jump on it. And this is a very meaningful day. I want to thank C.A.N for everything they do. I have learned so much of how this program helps not only the people who live with HIV, but their families, because it's not only the people that have this this disease, but it's their family, it's their friends, it's everyone that's affected, and this program helps. I've seen it, and we will continue to help and sponsor C.A.N, and I want to thank you guys again for this opportunity. I'm nervous, but thank you. Thank you for everything everyone does.
In closing, I will call Mikey back. Okay. Okay.
It's just me, gosh. Okay, so give a round of applause to everybody that won an award. Woo! And we all know that the work you all do for the community is more than awards, it's more than recognition. Even though the credit does feel good, we see it every day in the lives that you enhance, empower, and just push forward for another day. Speaking of pushing forward, if you want to walk forward, you can do that tomorrow at AIDS Walk, shameless plug. This is the flyer that is on your table, so go ahead and make that happen. And we would love to see you. This is not a race. We can walk beside each other, come in your pumps, in your flats. Just don't come barefoot. Oh, also make sure everybody fills this out so we can bother you next year, whether it's for a check, whether it's for an RSVP. You know, we got to make sure you're here, and we're able to throw on such a good event. Before I bring on our performer, I'm going to give a shout out to everyone who has made this event possible. Centerstone, Tidewell, Manatee County Rural Health, also youth. We also have the regional organizer of Planned Parenthood, the Manatee County Sheriff's Department. Thank you for all that you do. We also have MCHD, the Manatee Pride Prism. Yes, when is Pride this year? March 16th, make sure y'all are there. We have the Alliance. Awesome. We also have the McGregor Clinic. Again, Amy, hey, you a winner, girl. We have the Florida Department of Health from the Pinellas County. We have Mac. Shout outs to Mac. Awesome. Thank you for all that you guys do because you guys make sure you're here, you're ready, and y'all come painted. So, yes, ma'am. Healthy Teens Coalition. Yes. Yay. Oh, where are y'all at? Oh, there's my girl, Ariana. Oh, there she is. Okay, also them. Okay, the Women of the Station. And also again, who? Oh, the Women of Distinction. Okay, yeah, we gotta fix that, guys, whoever wrote this. And then also, shout outs to the Boys and Girls Club, last and not least. Thank you all for all that you do. And y'all just let me come in there and talk to them people, kids, and they end up wanting me back. Appreciate it. Shout outs to our Miami staff from C.A.N Community Health. Please stand up. Stand up, I don't see y'all. We have Brittany. Hey girl, she is the team lead. We have Richardo, who is the prevention manager. Hey there. And we have Michello. Where he at? Is he right next? Okay, this pole. Hey there. Hi. They came all the way from Miami. And we also want to give a shout out to the board members. Thank you all for attending. And now, without further ado, I'm going to finally get out y'all way and get out y'all hair, for those of you that have hair. And I am good. I'll be there soon, don't worry, because I'll be there soon. So, I would love to introduce Ashley, the World AIDS Day Committee board members. Will you please stand up, committee board members? Olga Bennett, please stand up. Committee board, we have myself, Jess Lee, Vicky, Melissa, Wendell, John Perez. Oh, there you are. Oh, they're standing up. So this is the World AIDS Day committee members. We get on each other's nerves, but we make it happen. Huh? Oh yeah, also again, another shameless plug. Please register for the AIDS Walk. It's on our website. Make it happen. I hope to see all of you there. True enough, it's early, but hey, I'd rather spend my mornings with y'all than just with nobody. So here we go again, bringing forth Ashley T. Banks. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and close Melissa in the place of her lovely wife, Valerie, who is over Manatee Pride. Oh, go ahead. Girl, all that shade back there. Okay, so we're gonna bring Melissa up and she'll give our closing remarks. Again, thank you all for coming. I hope to see everybody bright and early at AIDS Walk in the morning. You can register at our website, cancommunityhealth.org, and you can also register tomorrow morning. And here we are. Take it away, Melissa.
Okay, Mikey.
Excuse me.
Well, hello, and I'm Melissa, and this is Jeff, and we are Manatee Pride and Prism Youth. And we want to thank everyone for coming today, and we have been touched by all the speakers, and we have learned so much valuable information and had a great breakfast as well.
We wanted to thank the host committee for organizing this event and their wonderful speeches. Thanks to our mistress of ceremony, Ashley T. Banks.
We especially want to thank our sponsors, Merck, Hedge Pharmacists, Manatee County Boys and Girls Clubs, Florida Department of Health and Manatee County, Walgreens, but especially C.A.N Community Health.
And please, everyone, join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. in Sarasota at J.D. Hamill Park for the annual AIDS Walk. All the proceeds will benefit the clients of the C.A.N Community Health Center.
Thank you all, and we'll see you
next year. Thank you.